Hey guys, here are my 4 tips for longer lasting makeup for oily skin that I have found work for me. Let's get into it. Tip number 1 is correct skin prep. Now, skin prep is probably the most important part of your whole makeup routine. If you don't have a good base, then your makeup just won't look as good. So I actually made a video on this that I will link in the description box below if you want to check that out. But you want to use a hydrating serum instead of a commercial moisturizer. The reason being, usually moisturizers are just too emollient for the skin, too heavy, and it makes you actually more oily throughout the day. So I like to just use a hydrating serum and maybe a hydrating spray on top, and that's it. Tip number 2 was an oil control setting spray. Now I actually like to use this under my makeup because I want to stop the oils from coming through as long as possible. I like to pat it only in the parts of my skin that I get most oily. And a side tip with that is you can actually spray your setting spray on your beauty sponge and apply that if that's a tool of your choice. Tip number 3 is silica. Silica is found in HD powders, also known as finishing powders. Now, silica has the ability to absorb oil without disrupting the natural moisture levels in the skin. I like to buff a little bit of this powder into the skin before I do foundation. I know usually you wouldn't do a powder under foundation, but this actually does not compromise your liquid foundation at all. And my tip number 4 is use as little product as you possibly can. This is really for touch-up purposes. The more layers you have, the more layers that your oils need to get through, which makes it very, very difficult to touch up later in the day. So you just want to use thin layers of product, build it up a little bit at a time if you have to, and just in the areas that need it. You can't completely stop the oils from coming through. Eventually, it's gonna happen. So let's make it easier on ourselves by not piling on the foundation and making it harder to touch up. Those are my 4 tips for longer lasting makeup on oily skin. Thank you so much for watching. I post weekly videos on skincare and makeup tips and tutorials. And if that's something that you're interested in, please consider subscribing. I hope these tips help. And also, if you have any tips that I didn't mention that work for you, please comment them in the description box below. I'd love to hear about them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next video.